few months back, Ian Charkos, who's the CEO and was the founder of ADX, came down to see me in the country. He said, look, we've got more than we can handle at the moment. We've got a terrific team in Austria who mainly know Austria and Germany, and we could use someone who's been around a bit. What do you think? And I said, well, yeah, sounds interesting. I'd been not on boards or anything for 4 years or more. I thought I should take a look. So I said to him, well, send me over to Austria, I'll take a look. And went,
you'd be sitting on a well in a couple of months after that.
And so off I went, and a few things happened when I got over there. I didn't know much about Austria at all before I went there. I'd been to many countries, 40 plus, crazy places like Yemen and North Korea and so on, but to go to a place that frankly looked to me like one big garden was something else. And to find that that country had produced a lot of oil and gas over the years, and that just 2 big outfits had done it in that whole time, only 2 operators. So the opportunity for ADX was to take a position from one of those companies that had decided it was going to focus more on sequestration in their mature fields. And strange to say, although a lot of people here will probably identify with it, but over my career, whenever I've had the chance, either in a small or a medium-sized company, to follow major companies into acreage they've held for years and years, we always find something. Always something commercial, because they get set in their ways. It's not a criticism. Sometimes they get set in their ways and interpretation gets carried forward. Their filters get so big that they don't think they can find anything big enough in that area anymore. And you go in and you perhaps have the benefit of more modern data to help you, and you change the interpretation of one well, and suddenly you've got something different. And ADX has gone into this area in Austria as the 3rd ever operating company in 75 years, and with our first 2 wells we made an oil discovery, and we're going to be testing soon, we'll hear more about it, what could be the biggest hydrocarbon discovery in Austria for decades. So it's crazy stuff. And the other thing I found when I went over there was that unlike some other jurisdictions, the Austrian government wants us. They need us. They get about 35% of their energy through hydrocarbons. Most of that is gas that gets imported. And I read this statement by the energy minister, and it kind of says why Austria is a good place for ADX to be doing business. He says, or she says rather, our dependence on Russian natural gas threatens the prosperity, security and future of our country. Our goal is to get out of Russian natural gas. As a sovereign country, we cannot simply accept that the share of Russian gas increases instead of it decreasing. That is now why we will present the next measures. And one of those measures has been for that government to be very supportive of pretty much everything that ADX is doing. So I went over there and spent 10 days working with the team, went for a drive with one of the young engineers down to see the assets. That was a bit of a shock. We drove at about 160 kilometres an hour. And at one stage, as I got my breath, I said to him, you know, are you related to John Kopchev at all? Because I was clinging to the seat as he was driving with one hand and talking to me. Anyway, I came back and I said to Ian Charkos, I said, well, you know, where do I sign? I just thought it was such a fantastic opportunity, and ADX has been around for a while, but they really have put themselves in the frame with what they're doing in Austria. These are just a few stats up there about the company. We've got reserves, we're in production. There are renewable energy opportunities there. They're quite real because you've got all the infrastructure there. Everything's so close. We're not really doing anything about that at the moment. We're doing pretty much conventional oil and gas. This is just a summary of, you know, capital structure of the company. Amanda, our Chief Operating Officer, Financial Officer is here. If you want more details on this, you can come to the booth. But we're about market cap of 62 million, trading at 11 cents, 570 odd million shares on issue. We've got fully funded 3 activities on the go at the moment. Well, we've just drilled successfully drilled, we announced it yesterday, appraisal well in the Anshof oil field. Talking a bit more about that later. We're going to be drilling an exploration well, which is mostly funded by a farm out to MND, Czech company, and that will start next month. And then we're going to be testing the Welchau Discovery, all of which we're going to talk a little bit more about later. Here's a bit of a map that sort of tells the story. All those pink blobs up there are basically produced gas fields. And that's why RAG, which is an acronym, by the way, for an incredibly long name, RAG, one of these two...
John, just face the...
What's that, mate?
Face the microphone.
Oh, sorry. One of these two very big companies that were operating in Austria for this 75-year period, which is RAG and OMV.
Speak to the microphone.
Oh, right, okay.
Down in front of you there?
Yeah, sure, all right. Gee, got out of practice. Anyway, there's a lot of sort of mature fields there, so they're getting into CCS in a big way, and a lot of our acreage came from RAG, and we also got, as part of that, access to a huge 3D seismic coverage of the areas, which we're now reprocessing. So, you know, as I said before, one of the advantages we have is we're a small company, a bit hungry, and we can have better data than they had. 3 areas I've mentioned before, you can see them there, Anshof in number 1, Welchau number 3, and Lichtenberg number 2. This is just a quickie map of Anshof. You can see the picture down the bottom corner there. That's the producing facility, or we got very cheaply a 3,000 barrel a day facility. So we're pretty confident that we're going to get the production up. I think we can say that with the successful Anshof 2 appraisal well, that with that, some production we get from another area not shown here, you know, we're going to be somewhere up around the 500 to 600 barrels a day mark within a few months. We predicted that we'd get better reservoir with this well than in the original producer at Anshof 3, and we did. And this next diagram, I think, shows that a bit more clearly. This is sort of all datum, so it looks flat, but it's not. So I've put on the oil water contact there on the A2A well, which we've just drilled, just to show you that that's, you know, where the oil is. But we did get a much thicker reservoir by going up to the east. Very important. Lichtenberg, as I said, we're going to be drilling that. You can see in the top seismic section there on the right-hand side, amplitude supported. Probably the resources that we're saying here are modest, look modest, but the gas is so valuable. It sells for incredible prices in Austria, and really a 20 BCF field in Austria is probably worth as much as a 120 BCF field in the North Sea. Cheaper to drill, right near infrastructure, gas markets are not an issue, etc., etc., etc. And we have follow-ups to it right nearby. And so if we discover gas in Lichtenberg, we can turn that into, collectively, the better part of 100 BCF resource if the other wells are successful. The big one that a lot of people are interested in, of course, is Welchau. We went into the calcareous Alps. You know, I drove up there. It had been just before the well spudded, and the snow had melted away, and I wondered what all these sort of piles of brown dirt everywhere were, and apparently that was moles hibernating near to our well site. At any rate, we've suspended that well, and Ian Charkos is over there because he wants to make sure the testing goes well. So the main challenge with this is all about the testing now, and hopefully we can get a big test out of it. Now, it's not the only structure there, and as time goes by over the next few months, we're currently remapping everything in the area. There's not a lot of seismic. We're going to be letting everybody know about the other structures in our acreage that are on trend with Welchau. The Welchau testing will probably go for quite a while because we want to get right. I did mention this. I'm just going to put this there to highlight again the value of gas in Austria. There are crazy prices, frankly, for the gas. $17.50 US an MCF. That's pretty incredible. And so as a result of that, you get, the NPV of projects or the value of your projects is just so high per unit of what you produce. Again, what I liked about the company when I went over there was I don't like companies that have got a binary future. In other words, you drill your best well and there's nothing much after that. Welchau had virtually nothing to do with the selection of that prospect. It was already going to happen in a couple of weeks' time. I liked the other stuff. I liked the stuff over in the gas area. I think we can find a lot of hydrocarbons over there. We're starting with Lichtenberg, and I'm hoping that we can add a fully funded additional well to this 3 well and testing program that we've already got. It's a lot of activity for a small company, and as a result, Ian's had to bring in quite a few people from outside to help us. As I said, Lichtenberg, just giving a bit of a close-up there, and the follow-up structures nearby, and some of all the other structures that we map in that sort of western acreage. They're all at different levels. Some of these things are shallow with incredible amplitude anomalies, and the chance of finding something there is as high as 80%, something like that. So what we'd like to do is, get one of the bigger ones to come in, and then we'll own a facility, and then we'll just start going and drilling the smaller ones and tying them in. The chance of succeeding with that is high. There's another seismic line on it, over it. The P90 or the smaller part of the closure is an anticline. So once again, the POS or the chance of success in these wells is really quite high compared to your average exploration. So that's sort of the work program that we've already got funded, and we hope to add to that. But what I really want to bring to your attention is, Austria's a great place to do business. They want us there. They've got all the facilities, they've got the people, they've got the training. They want us there. Only the 3rd company in 75 years. It's a crazy opportunity, which I didn't appreciate until I went there. Following very large companies, as I said before, we've got a huge position there already, and the regulations are such that, let's say you don't like a piece of your permit, you like a little bit of the acreage over there, you can apply to the government to change the boundaries of the permit so you cover the good stuff and leave out the bad stuff. You'd have to do a separate application here to do that. It's really quite good. So far we've got 3 out of 4 wells that we've drilled successfully, and we hope to continue with that success rate.